Great. So, hello everyone. This is Vibe with Viv. That's for Vision, Inspiration, Believe in Empowerment. Welcome again to another session. Today, I'm welcome to have Alex. He's another relationship coach, and we're going to be diving into some questions that have been pressing on women's mind when it comes to relationships and finding love and healing. As you already know, I work with women who are, trying to heal after going through a breakup, regaining their self-worth, forgiveness, and just come to terms with who they are again after not being in a relationship. So today we're going to be discussing some topics on the man's perspective when it comes to finding love and healing, and how that may help some women who are trying to navigate these things as well. And I am here with Alex. I'll let you introduce yourself, Alex.
Yes, hello. My name is Alexander Young. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I live out here in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Yes, I'm a veteran. And, I'm a relationship coach by passion because I figured that relationships need to get back to the basics of knowing what it means to have a solid foundation. So basically, I like to help relationships be fulfilled and people fulfill their vision for the relationship. So that's one of my main goals.
Let's say people are going through a relationship breakup and they split up. What are some things that would bring a man back? And should that woman give that man a second chance?
Well, as I said, going through that, through my backtrack healing method, when you look at that, okay, look at what the cause of breakup was. Was it preventable? Meaning, was it something that they didn't really have to break up about and they just made the choice to? Or what can they do to make sure that it, doesn't happen again? If, you know, it's one thing to give somebody a chance, should that give that extra chance? Well, you have to look. How they told you they gonna do something and they told you they was gonna stop doing something previously and they didn't. I see many women get with these guys that say, I'm gonna change and gonna change. They put them right back in their life and they ain't changed. They still doing the same old stuff. They're treating them bad as a sense of control and manipulation. Because some woman, and I'm gonna say like this, and please hear me when I tell you, ladies, don't become a volunteer after you have been a victim. Because one time you are a victim, but the second time you volunteer. You have to know that, okay, if I'm bringing this person has to be, you know, they have to be on their P's and Q's. They have to be really changed. And not just to start off changing to show you that they changed, but they have to really mean it. They have to really show it and be intentional about the change. Because I'm gonna tell you like this: wisdom and maturity does not come with age, no, and experience. It comes with the responsibility and accountability of changing from a negative behavior to a better behavior. Because just because people say they know better, that don't mean they will do better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I totally agree. The point where you said the first time you're a victim, the second time you're volunteering, that is so true. And I just go back to my experience when I was dating. I ended up a relationship with this person. And I think, no, not I think he felt bad for ending things with me and wanted to come back. And the way he went about breaking up the relationship was very immature. And it was just through a text. And he just like moved on and didn't care. And then I heard from a friend that he wanted to come back, but he never really directly spoke to me. And at that point, I could have been the one to reach out and been like, okay, I saw you want to come back, let's talk about it. But then I'm like, no, why am I doing that to myself? He's the one that chose to move forward. Like, I'm deciding that I'm going to love myself enough and know that I'm going to meet someone who values me from the get-go rather than trying to make somebody see my value and want to be with me. Like, I'm not going to volunteer myself again for something similar. So as much as people want to change, doesn't mean they're going to change. And then you have to decide, do you want to volunteer yourself for something that could potentially happen? And honestly, my take on it is like, if someone shows you who they are the first time, believe it. It's hard, but believe it, because they're more than likely bound to repeat it again. And I'm not a person giving someone another chance to prove who they are in a relationship after they have cheated, because I believe that for what that was. And I'm not going to put myself through that again. And it could be different for your situation, but I'm just saying, when they come back, what's that saying? A sheep in wolf's clothing, you just never know.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things my grandmother used to tell me was worse than a broken promise is an empty word. Was worse than a broken promise is an empty word. Because remember, they used to say your word is your bond. If you say you're going to do something with somebody, or do it.
Yeah.
Don't tell somebody you're going to do something and then you don't do it. It's like with the whole waiting thing as well, too. If somebody moves forward because they kept wanting to wait, and then that person wants to come back after the wait, and then it's like, well, what's gonna be different if I bring you back into my life? You cheated on me. What's gonna be different? Because you said you wouldn't do it, but then you end up doing it. Be different because you said that you was going to do this, but never did it. What's going to be different? What's going to be different? What's going to be different? What's going to cultivate our relationship moving forward and being better? What's going to cultivate our relationship being more and being intentional with each other? I can't sit there and say I'm a victim if I'm allowing it. Mm-hmm. Because how you allow somebody to treat you that means you're okay with it. And sometimes you are living in a manipulative, controlled environment, in a sense of, when they try to play the whole heart thing and stuff like that. Because sometimes I can tell you there's the ones that do try to play innocent and act like they don't have any toxic traits themselves. And when you look at that, it's like sometimes you have to see that, like, no, because everybody on this earth has some type of flag, has some type of trait in them. Like I said, relationships calls for construction and deconstruction. Mm-hmm. Some things have to be broken up for fallow ground to be broken up so you can build that solid foundation. And like I said, women, don't be a volunteer after you have been a victim. Men, same thing. Do not be a volunteer after you have been a victim.
That's because
true. When you do that, you giving the same chance. You just given the same chance to let everything happen to you over again, over again, over again, and over again, and which means you tolerate it and you accept it. Sometimes you have to tell people, just because I love you don't mean I have to pacify your bad behavior. People need to learn that. Men and women, I hope you just heard me. Just because I love you don't mean I have to pacify your bad behavior. Yes, I might put up with you, don't mean I have to pacify you. So I say that.
I really appreciate you. This was awesome. This was great. This was
yes, ma'am.
There was a lot of nuggets that were taken out of this, and I believe that a lot of people will apply into their lives. What are some last advice you would give, let's say, for someone who's trying to find love, or a woman who's trying to heal? What's a last advice you would kind of give on one of those two ends?
Well, on those two ends, I would say go back to my backtrack healing method, the thought process. To move on, look back towards the breakup. Look at the breakup to see if it was preventable. on what can I do to change that it won't happen again. And then you go back to the cause. You go back to the cause, the root cause of the breakup, which means a person has to have self-reflection, a self-evaluation of their actions, and also look at the other person's actions of what they did, what led to the breakup. And as I said, if you get this book right here is a good read. It's called God is a Behaviorist, Status, Marriage, in a Relationship by Shona M. Dennis. It is a good read. It'll teach you about vulnerability, self-awareness, self-awakening, and self-accountability. Because when you're finding love, there's two things you want to look at. Before you move on, are you going to build a wall or are you going to build a shield? A shield is going to protect you in the areas, but you'll know how to let down your shield to some friendly people. But when you put up a wall, you won't know who's friendly or who's enemy because you're busy, you got a brick wall. And most of the time, you hear this saying that there's a shortage of good men. A lot of women say, but at the same time, you got this brick wall up, which is called standards, in which you don't really have a standard for yourself because you got this brick wall, and it's gonna take you brick by brick because you don't get to see. With your shield, you can let down to see, but with this wall, you're not gonna see. You're just not making yourself accessible to finding love. You're just making yourself more, you're making yourself more introverted that you can be blocking your own blessing from a good man because your past hurt, you are still drowning in your own past hurt and you're throwing a pity party and you think that no man can ever love you the right way. I can be honest, I was that way before. I was that way before. And right now, I can honestly say I thank God for where I am now and who I am with right now. And though we have our ups and downs, what relationship doesn't? But the first thing you need to know is when you get into a relationship, why is it that you get to a relationship? And understand that if you're going to be in a relationship, cultivate it. If you're going to move on, don't compare your future to your past. Because only thing you're going to do is bring salt from the past. And then when salt comes onto your relationship, you'll have that salt from your past. You'll have that old rusty salt, and you putting on more new salt. And you ain't gonna ever find the sugar that you're looking for.
That's good. Thank you. And I appreciate you again for coming on and your time. Where can
Having me.
people find you if they wanted to connect with you?
You could find me on Facebook at Alexander Young. You can reach out to me. I'm on Instagram, Alexander Young 163 9461. I'm on. Also, you can email me at alexmyoung55 at gmail. That's how you're able to find me.
Awesome. Wonderful. And again, anyone watching this, if you are in need of, getting that coaching, whether it's in finding love, healing, definitely hit either I or Alex up. We would be happy to serve you and just to be real and work with you in whatever situation you may be going through. And again, Vibe with Viv Tribe, thank you again for coming on. That's for vision, inspiration, belief, and empowerment. And I hope that through watching this video, you've been encouraged, empowered, and given some steps that you can apply into your life when it comes to finding love and in healing. And have any thoughts on the video that on the topics we talked about today, leave a comment below. I would like to hear what your thoughts are. And until next time, we'll see you soon.